What are data classes? What are they? What are they used for? And why would you use a data class over a class? So this is just going to be a continuation from the last video where we talked about classes. But I'm going to introduce this thing called data classes here. So let's go to the slides. Made some slides. I think they're pretty cool. Here we go. I made these slides using Markdown and something for your education, essentially. So I'm going to go through these really cool things called data classes. Now, what they are just Python classes, right? With a little bit of syntactic sugar and shortcuts inbuilt, but extra functionality, so you don't have to type out as much code. I think they're awesome and they save me lots of time. So I'm going to give you a real cool awesome trick. So if you ever are trying to figure out how to do a new coding concept or something like that, always go to the docs. Always go to the docs. The docs have all the information about everything you need, right? And that's it. Like, the docs will tell you more about what's going on than what I'm going to explain in this video. So I'm just going to explain the surface level things and what I find useful when I'm doing trading and stuff like that. So let's go to the next slide. So this is what a data class looks like, right? It's a little bit different. So notice here you don't see the init method, yeah? It's just, you have this decorator called a data class. You just put it above the class. And then you use the cool Python typing, right? To just initiate what each of these field types are going to be. And then you can just declare it like instantiate it actually like a normal class. And you can do all these cool things. So let's go to the editor and just put that in. Now, where's my editor? Awesome. So let's do this. So I made a new file called data classes. Now I didn't want it to conflict with like the data classes module in like Python, so I called it some weird name here. But don't worry, you'll get all the code. It'll all be good. So let's just type it out. So we'll import it, right? And then make the employee class. Put all the fields there as you do, and then we'll make an instance of employee. And then we're just going to print a bunch of the fields from employee. Easy peasy. So let's just, right. So obviously I'm using some software to just type it out like very, very nicely and stuff. But what I recommend is like go pause the video, go restart it, copy the code, go to the link on GitHub to find the code and run it yourself. So let's just go, so what do I call the file? Data class. So just go Python main data class, right? And then we get exactly what we were thinking, right? It's just a regular class, just a bit of syntactic sugar here. Notice we didn't need to put the double under init double under method, right? It just automatically calls that stuff, which is great, which is awesome. So that is what a data class looks like. It's really great. Saves you a bit of time. So yeah, it supports type hints and default values. So here we're making a book class, right? And you can say, okay, title author, and then you can give it a type hint, but you can also give it a default value, right? Actually, I just won't type that out. Now, the thing to remember with this is that actually maybe I will type it out. So we'll go back to VS Code here, and what I'll do is I'll just comment all that out. Easy peasy, easy stuff. Yep, and then I'm just gonna paste that. I'm just gonna do that magic thing where I type it. So we make another data class, a book class, right? And you see here these last two fields, we are going to just give it default values. And then we can just make a example usage. We'll just make a book class like that. And we'll just put A there. Great. And maybe we'll just print it out to just make sure. Okay, oops. Yeah, we'll just print it out just like that. Easy. Nothing too crazy. So see, again, I've mentioned this a lot of times, but I love to use Copilot and all that because it saves so much time. But when you are learning, I highly recommend you just turn off Copilot, write it out from scratch, yeah? And just do it once, and then you'll be okay to just use Copilot. But this is sort of a speed run, so I highly recommend, you spend, I don't know, however long this video is going to be, and then 2x that amount of time rewatching the video and learning how these data classes work. Anyway, that's just what I think. Anyway, let's run it. So we get that. Now, the thing with default values is you have to put them sort of under all the things without default values. Otherwise, you get errors. So just, when I was coding, just a little something to remember, like, because I would get an error. So if we run this right, it'll actually say you can't have it like that. Yeah, see? So non-default arguments title followed by default arguments price, right? And what's that saying is you need to have all these ones with default arguments so just get rid of that, at the bottom. And then we'll run it. Maybe I'll just actually move this over here a bit. Run it. We get that. We get what we want. Cool. So let's go on to the next thing. So frozen data classes. Now there's this sort of, so you can make a data class like a point, and we pass in this argument frozen equals true. And what that essentially does is that point is immutable. So it means when you make an instance of point, you can't change the point, right? So that is just a security safety thing. So let's actually just do that. So let's go back to VS Code and comment all this out. Easy. And then what we can do, we'll just go to the bottom of this. Yep, easy. And then we will just write our frozen data class with frozen equal to true and just an X and a... Now let's explore this a little bit. So example usage, we'll make a point, and then maybe we'll make a comment being like, can't change, can't modify frozen data classes. Yeah, so I'll put a comment there, and now let's just try that, right? So we put in a point. Put in a point. Point 1 is what we called it there, and we'll try and modify the x, just like in the Copilot example. So right now x is 3, and we're going to change it to 5. That'll raise an error because we're trying to, because frozen means it's immutable, can't be changed once it's instantiated, right? Initialized, like we make an instance of point. So we run it. Yeah, can't do it. So we get an error. So it's about reading. It's about reading stuff. Cool. So that's what frozen does. So I guess I'll comment that out as well. Let's do that. Nice. Okay. And second last thing. Slots. I love slots. Slots are just another little weird argument thing that come along with data classes. And I use them a lot for trading and all that kind of stuff, some of those Python optimizations. So it's like a memory optimization. So what you do is you make some class, right? And then you... so what it does is it says that you sort of... Yeah, you restrict sort of the amount of memory each of those attributes has, right? And what it's saying is we're not going to have any more attributes later. It's like a player is always going to have a name and a score, and we're always assigning this amount of memory to it. Because what Python does is it can sort of expand and it does this expanding thing with how much memory that goes on. Because maybe we could have like 2x the score, like another field. So we somehow introduce that later. But what we're saying with slots is what we're describing here is what we're going to get, right? And that is how much memory we're going to be allocating to this player instance. Now, with Python is known for like expanding the memory and just adding random fields in. Now, for example, if this was like C++ or Rust, and you make a struct, and it's like, okay, the struct is going to be that much memory, and it's just going to be kind of small. But Python is like expands and contracts. You don't know how much memory. And that actually takes, because it's expanding, right? It's taking more time. And also, there's some checks behind the scene with Python. So it's a little bit of a speed and a memory optimization. And so what you do is if you have like a large number of players or something like that, and then you would you'd use the slots, right? What I do is like often I'd use like order books and stuff, and I'd have these levels in the order book, and I'd make many of these, and then I'd be like, okay, each order book has a bid, ask, and a bid volume, ask volume, right? And then that's all we're getting. So I don't think I'm gonna just copy that out, but it's just a way of optimizing memory, and it's real simple. Now there's actually two ways of sort of writing this out here. You could do you could just name each of the fields here you want slots for, or if you want all of them, you just go right here and just say slots equals true, and that is it. Okay, next, let's move on to something really cool. So we've got this post init method. So it's just like the initialize method, but what happens is so we have a data class, right? We have this data class here. We initialize it right here, and then just in the background, employee sort of has this initialize method. The initialize method is being called. What post init does is it's sort of, maybe if there's tricky things you need to declare, it'll go init, then it'll run your post init method. So it can declare maybe more complex looking things, right? So let's actually have a look at what that looks like. So I'm going to write this out. Let's go to VS Code. And so we'll go here. So what we're going to do is we'll just make a data class, and I guess we'll call it my class, 2 attributes, and then we write the post init method, right? And what we see here is we initialize attribute 1, and we we declare attribute 1, and we declare attribute 2, yeah? And then attribute 3 it's a little bit more complex, right? What we do is we convert attribute 2 into a string, and then so this thing here is a string, right? But so it's a little bit more complex. So what we do is we just we put it in the post init method, and then when we make methods later, we get access to that as well. So that is that's the post init method, right? So little tricks for data classes. I think they're really cool. So just this last comment here, when would you use them, right? I think I've just said, but it's like when you need to calculate something on initialization, like we did with attribute 3 here, yeah? Or, you've got some validation, like maybe this is like a user for a website, and then the user gives an email or something as attribute 1, and then you might need to perform some email validation step here. You do it in this thing right here, or complex initialization, which I guess that is complex, or there's like some weird calculus or mathematics you do with it. Anyway, so that is the end of the slide deck. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna this is part of gonna be a free course, and I'll give the slides to you, and it'll be on my school. So I'll put all the links and stuff in the description. I'm gonna release a trading course very soon. It'll teach you how to automate strategies, so you don't have to spend hours at the screen doing it, and how to do it properly, how the institutions do it as well. So look out for that, and I guess in the meantime, have fun with data classes.